Hey guys, welcome to some Majora's Mask in a dungeon. Wait a minute, hang on, did I load the right part up? This doesn't seem right. There should be side quests.
Yeah, I thought we were going back to Clock Town. We got more mini games to play, right?
I guess our next side quest is main objective.
Finally getting the Great Bay though.
And you know what, that's fine. We'll start off the dungeon with a side quest part. We'll get a straight ferry. There you go. Now it feels a little better.
I like how when the turtle brings you in, and Link's just waving, it's like, "Hi, thank you."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice little touch. But you're not stuck in the dungeon because you would think riding in via this giant turtle, there's no way out. But if you just hook shot onto his back, you'll leave the same way you came in, essentially. He'll take you out if you need to do any preparations, and then take you back in whenever.
Maybe it's just me. And I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I don't think Great Bay Temple's that bad of a temple.
It's confusing on a first playthrough, doubly so with the current system, but once you kind of understand how it works, I actually prefer this over Water Temple from Ocarina of Time in a lot of ways. That one is a lot easier to get turned around in multiple regards.
Yeah, I used to be like that too. Like, oh god, Great Bay's horrible. But you start to realize, like, with any Zelda dungeon, the more you play it, the more you learn it, and the more you are okay with it, you realize this isn't as bad as I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these dungeons always on a first-time playthrough will give you a headache and you get turned around a lot, but that's definitely the design of a good puzzle in a lot of ways, too, because it really has to make you think and kind of double guess yourself, because it's gonna have to be complex. Keep you playing for longer.
Yeah, like, you can play Water Temple once and you're like, what is this? You know, why am I getting stuck? Why am I forgetting this key kind of thing? But the more you play it, the more you learn it, you'll realize, like, why did I think this was so bad? This isn't that bad.
You know what I think is the worst water temple in Zelda games? Lake Bed Temple from Twilight Princess.
Yeah, that tried to be Water Temple in a lot of ways, but then it also was a lot of confusion because a lot of rooms did look the same, and for a game of that era, that becomes problematic. And then there were flat-out parts you had to backtrack to if you wanted to get the items, because you couldn't get them on a first trip. So, like, I think one of them was the compass, which was not good to lock out behind a backtracking thing.
I don't care for Twilight Princess's Lake Bed Temple more. I think, if anything, I don't think Water Temple's as bad. Yeah, I played it, like, 2 years ago when I streamed it, and I didn't think it was horrible. But then again, I had, even Lester showing me what I need to do. I didn't have that trouble with that one key that everybody forgets about it.
If you had played it by yourself without us being there, would you have thought it was that bad?
No, not really.
That's what I'm saying.
It's one of those things that's definitely over-exaggerated just because of the confusion. I mean, the biggest example I think of off the top of my head that definitely has somewhat of the same feel is the whole infamous barrel thing from Sonic 3, because how it stumps people, but there are routes to get around that. So sometimes you may even run into one of those barrels from Carnival Zone.
Oh gosh, don't remind me of that, because I felt so stupid. 16 years of my life, I never could get past Carnival Night Zone Act 2. I couldn't get past it until I was 16 years old, and I actually just played it again. I'm like, and I tried everything, and then I tried up and down. I was like, was that really it? I know we talked about this on the Sonic 3 playthrough, but it's just like, it really made me feel so horrible when I figured out what it was. Oh, I hated it. And I know everybody's like, well, you didn't figure it out? I'm like, yeah, I didn't figure it out because I was stupid.
What was that? Wait a minute. Excuse me?
Yeah, if you hook on a bomb shoe instead of going to the enemy or killing it, it brings it to you. And that's one of the most terrifying things.
That was scary.
Definitely so when you have to get out of a first-person view with this mask on, because you see the Great Fairy's face on the inside of the mask as well as the outside. So for a split second, we can see a zoom in of the Great Fairy face, and it is terrifying.
That's gonna be the thumbnail of this video.
Probably.
Nothing but night terrors right there.
Didn't mean to interrupt you. That just shocked me for a second. Go ahead.
Well, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, how did you not know that? I'm like, I was dumb. I'm not smart like everybody else.
I mean, I had that same issue with this game. We talked about that in one of the early parts, but I didn't think of shooting Skull Kid with a bubble just to get your ocarina back.
Yeah, it's just like, you know, I don't think everything... Sometimes I think games, like of old games, like 20-plus-year-old games, are hard in design sometimes because a lot of the designs of 20-year-old games really require you to think outside the box sometimes to do certain things. And, you know, it's not really straightforward. And that's one thing that I really wish people would stop, you know, getting on to other people's cases about. 'Cause it's like, look, when I'm like 9 years old, I don't know what to do and like everything else.
Well, that's the thing. Everybody plays the game differently.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody's play style is differently, so it's just like what might work for you might not work for me.
Yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment, and that's pretty much any game.
Oh God. Oh look, a Link to the Past boss return.
Yeah, this thing definitely kind of caught me off guard when I first played. Play Link to the Past first, you see this, like, oh, full 3D model, what's this? But this boss is one of those situations where, going back to that conversation of there's multiple ways to play, yeah, there's also multiple ways to hurt this guy for that reason. You can shoot him with arrows, you can attack the bubbles with a sword, you can go ahead and throw bombs at him, which will also do damage, and you can use Deku Nuts to do the same thing. Like, there's a lot of different things you can do. I recommend coming into this fight with a lot of Deku Nuts, because it does make the bubble parts a lot easier to deal with. As long as the bubbles are near range where you throw the nut, they can all be destroyed, which is so much better than just hunting these things down, just praying to hit them. I just wish we can carry more than 20 nuts.
But Sonic goes, Deku Nuts are useless, didn't you know?
Deku Nuts are useless.
These can literally kill the final boss in Ocarina of Time. Let me show you. Also, use fire arrows here if you have the magic to spare or drank Chateau Romane, because you do so much more damage with them. They'll do more damage as a standard arrow.
And you're standing on the chest again. You just had the swag on them.
Speaking of arrows, we got normal arrows from one dungeon, fire from another. How about this one? Oh, good, garbage. These are useless, said every Ocarina of Time player when they first got these, because in Ocarina, they really weren't useful. It was an optional item in the game, and it didn't have that many uses, but in this game, they are well programmed at this point. Like, they have a lot more functionality. They don't just hurt things, and that's it.
But Lester, they did have a use. They froze Bongo Bongo's hands.
But I killed Bongo Bongo before I got them. Oh, they look nice. They can freeze Stalfos. There, I found the use. The Stall Knights, they're super effective. But that was about it. In this game, you can freeze Octoroks, for example, and use them as platforms. We can freeze certain shoes, they also do the same thing, and freeze certain parts of the water. Oh wait, no, that's 3DS version. In this version, we can shoot any part of the water to freeze it. I don't know why in 3DS it was only certain parts. It makes the arrows a little harder to use.
I actually did not know that. Now I don't know if I ever want to play 3DS version, because give me my water.
Yeah, so here's the weird thing about ice arrows in 3DS. So, I guess the devs thought shooting any part of the water to make a platform was a little too busted, and in some ways it is, because you can actually get the boss key without fighting the mini-boss in this dungeon by just placing platforms in a right order to get to the boss key room, because then you can just go straight to the boss key itself. So, to circumvent it, oh, let's just make it so pre-designated areas, you can use the ice arrows instead. But it feels so weird because they're more spaced out now, and you have to hit these specific spots. So, you don't have as much creative freedom in the dungeon now in 3DS. That's the one thing I don't like.
Physics.
Oh, wait, sorry, you're supposed to be solid. Oh. I mean, he was water, right? So I'm just walking through water.
Going back to Ocarina of Time, can I say that Bongo Bongo was probably my favorite boss in that game?
Because it's different.
It's just to think, like, whenever you get to the Shadow Temple, you're like, oh, the boss is going to be like some menace that's so scary and evil and everything else. It's like, no, guy with drums.
And then you realize, wait a minute, floating head with hands. Oh, is my favorite Nintendo specialty.
I just like the concept of Bongo Bongo.
I mean, the concept is cool. I can agree. And plus, he is kind of a challenging boss.
The fact that when you do hurt him, he just shake his hand like, ow!
You hurt my hand!
Yeah, and I do like if you do have ice arrows for the fight, because it does do something extra. It makes me think it was planned to have ice arrows be something you got beforehand instead of just being an optional thing. But at the same time, it's still cool if you get him, because he has that extra animation of trying to break open the hand that's frozen. But this is what I was talking about before. If you put certain platforms on certain areas here in the water, you can just grab this ledge and get boss key. That's it. You don't need to fight the mini-boss, so, oops. This is why in 3DS they do kind of change things around, so you can't just get the boss key easily. You know what else could have changed it? Moving the wall so slightly higher.
Or just getting rid of the window entirely.
So what if I just go fight this guy using the back door?
Wait a minute, you're not supposed to go in through that door?
Wait, I was expecting the door on the other side. Wait, well, this is weird. You're supposed to go from the left.
What?
Okay. Well, he really did like me coming through the other door. The mini-boss has left the building. So, I got horribly screwed here as the guy clipped through the floor, and now I'm just trapped in the room. That was fun. So, I think what happened is after I hook-shotted him, he, like, rubbed against the bubble in a weird way, and his collision got pushed through the floor. So, that was unfortunate.
So you're gonna do it again?
So you're gonna do it again.
I had to actually leave the dungeon proper. I had to use the Song of Soaring to get back to the entrance and come all the way back here. Just because of that.
Oh my god, Buster.
That was unfortunate. So sometimes maybe don't hookshot the guy to get him close. It's a good way to get him closer if he doesn't fall through the floor.
You're gonna do it yet again. You're going to go and hookshot him. The same thing that caused it to happen the first time. I just want karma to just, you know, make it happen again.
If he's standing still and there's no bubbles around, I feel confident enough. But if he's near a bubble, cold sweats.
Oh, he was about ready to throw a bubble at you too, but like, hey, you want to do that again?
That's the best time to hookshot him because he won't move. So that does help then. But the gimmick of the fight is essentially you freeze him if the game accepts it. Apparently not. Alright, if he doesn't get frozen, he can suck you into the bubble and do some frog foo. It's like to coin it. Not the result we want. You freeze him when he's up in the ceiling, and if there's no animation going on, then he'll get frozen, fall down, break open the big bubble to make small bubbles. And then he can actually get the frog.
There you go.
And now let's go back, I don't know how many videos at this point, like 7? Remember those frogs we were collecting just to send all to Snowhead? This is the final one. You can finally do that quest up in Snowhead.
Go back home. Why are you even here?
He heads to the mountains immediately, falls through the floor. Like, oh, not again. So you may have caught like a very small glimpse of that when we transitioned rooms. The one door was frozen solid. Technically, you're supposed to use the ice arrows here in this room to get over the other side of the water where the proper door is to get into that mini-boss, and it's frozen shut. So you have to use fire arrows to open it. It's your introduction to the idea in this dungeon where you're using both elemental arrows, fire and ice, to kind of mix things up. Then some things will be frozen and some things will need to be frozen. I mean, it's all optional if you can just get the boss key because platforms are free. Make them and go.
Barrels, freezing the water.
Yeah, without ice arrows, you can't get up that section of the ladder there because that current will push you away. But now with ice arrows, we can freeze any kind of currents we see. Now we can get up to that top section. And And you're noticing these pipes all around the area. There's yellow pipes that have current going through, and green pipes that don't. We've been activating some switches here and there that's been making water flow through certain pipes. So the whole gimmick of this dungeon is the water flow inside these pipes. You want to activate all of the green switches here because, just to jump ahead, there are green pipes that lead to the final boss room here. So we want the pipes to all be flowing with water to get to the boss. And here we're supposed to use ice arrows, but you can also just come up here and skip the whole puzzle. So, oops. Kinda needed to come up here anyways for a stray fairy, so it's not that big of a detour. Now the cheat.
Lester, quit doing that.
Not my fault to put a hole right there in the ceiling. You can also do that on 3DS, and with the limited platform thing, that actually makes this room a lot better, because with how things are spaced out, yeah, maybe actually it's easier just to go from the top.